you go, babe. Hey, save some for Smash. There you go. Hi, I'm leaving the homestead today to go visit my friend Rob at the Woodglen General Store in California, New Jersey. So come on, let's go. Thanks for meeting with me today. Let's hear a little bit about the history of the store. I know that you're the current owner and it's changed hands a few times, so maybe you could just tell me a little bit about that process.
As far as we know, it's been a general store since 1830. So like in this area, there, this was it. Like, there wasn't many things. And
yeah, I noticed the blue sign over there.
Yeah. I mean, there's pretty much like, a tavern, obviously, and a general store. So, so it's evolved quite a bit over the years. That I don't even know how many owners. It's had a lot.
And you got it from one person. What was their name?
Well, I currently rent the store from Brian Wonder, who's the mayor now in town. It kind of comes around and everybody gets a chance to be a mayor. It's small town stuff. So, so yeah, they kind of made a go at it for a little bit, but they weren't really kind of food people, and it's a lot tougher than it's like, it'd be fun to have a sandwich shop or a general store, and it's not it's fun if you know how to do it. It's fun.
Yeah.
But it's not for everyone. So,
yeah.
So it's had short-term ownerships and it's had long-term ownerships. And I'm friends with a previous owner from before who owned the building before Brian did, and Brian sold him the building. So, our kind of future plan would be to, to purchase the building at some point in the near future, and and then I can do some other things to it, but still keeping it the charm that it has. So, I've always loved the store, so I'm a pretty much lifetime resident of Hunterdon County. So, and I only live like 4 miles away.
So it's nice and convenient for you to swing by anytime.
My commute's 4.5 miles back road. So,
and haven't you slept here sometimes as well?
Yeah, I mean, I'm here a lot, like a lot more than. I mean, my regulars would know. They're like, I see your truck here like all the time. Like, it's, I mean, I'm a chef by trade, so, and I've owned a couple of other restaurants in the past, and, I take it a different perspective in it than most shop owners would. So
the food is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, my that's what my main concern is always. We have very high standards on things, and it's tough, but I buy much higher quality ingredient than a lot of places would, and that makes it tougher on the bottom line. But in the end, I always feel confident about whatever we serve. I don't have there's never any doubt in my mind when it leaves my hand that it's the best it could be.
Yeah.
So,
especially since you really need to draw the traffic here to this rural area.
Yeah.
If it's not going to be the best sandwich that you can get in the near area, then how do you get people to come through the door?
Yeah, I mean, it can be difficult at times, but like there's certain parts of the year where it's difficult. this past first quarter was brutal. No fault of our own, you know, talking to other chef friends that own places, we all had bad first quarters, and you know, hopefully we're past that now, and you know, going into the busier season. So everybody's just really great here, and they've been super supportive. Like the community, they get behind you, because I mean, overwhelmingly everyone wants you to succeed, because if you succeed, it you know, it makes the township and the town look better.
So you feel like the town totally supports
oh yeah, no,
this shop?
yeah,
you know,
100%. I mean, the food is my main focus, so everything else is kind of secondary. So
what would you say are some of the most challenging things that you've had to overcome?
you know, we had a couple of long-term, you know, power outages here, but now we're trying to do some upgrades to, you know, hopefully plug-in generator, so it'll be much easier of a transition if that happens. In this area, you do have that, and with all the ash tree problems and things, lines go down, and there's nothing you can really do about it. It's going to happen. So all you can do is kind of be ready for it, and you know, work it that way. I mean, I wouldn't say there's a lot of things to overcome. It's just overcoming maybe old ways. So, you know, I have other ideas and things that I've, over the 30 years I've been a chef, that I know work. And sometimes you have to be forceful with that and say, you know, like old employees, you know, sometimes it'd be like, well, we used to, I don't want to hear that. Like, this is what we do now. So what you did in the past really doesn't matter. I mean, this is the way we're doing it now. So, and I'm not trying to be, you know, forceful with it, but this is just the way it is. And, you know, in the restaurant world, you know, you have a new chef that comes in, this is the way we do it. You know, that's just it, you know? So I think those things, just trying to get people onto new ideas, you know, because sometimes I'll make a sandwich special and like this, if somebody doesn't buy this, they're an idiot. Like, you know, because I'll have all the combinations of, you know, sweet, savory, you know, spicy, you know, and salty and everything. And when people do get it, they're like, oh my God, I really get that. Like, I didn't imagine that in the sandwich. But then other people are like, you know, I don't like this, or I don't like that, and that's okay too. But the people that do get it, when they do get it, they're very trustworthy. Like, you know, there's been a lot of times, you know, just make me something. So, and that shows a lot of trust, you know, when somebody just, hey, just make me something. You kind of know what I like, whatever. The 100 and Happenings thing, you know, we won 2 years in a row for best sandwich shop in the county. So, and that's all based on, and it's all vetted, and it's all the voting is like extremely looked at now. Years ago it wasn't. But now it's, and that's
a real competition.
It's a real competition, and it's based solely upon your customers voting for you. So so to come out of the gate the first year and win, and then now win again, it's, I mean, some people like, who cares? I mean, it's a big honor for me. I mean, you know, we placed, like, they didn't have the soup cook-off this year in Hunterdon County, but, you know, I placed third last year. This year they didn't have enough participants, so they canceled it. So, but yeah, I would, you know, that was great for my first year doing that, and you know, that was with like a week's notice, you know, because they ran out of some people. So then they asked me, because, you know, here's sort of like, you know, Califon and Lebanon Township is sort of like, I don't want to say a forgotten part of Hunterdon County, but it's sort of like, it's out there, you know, so like all the hustle and bustle kind of happens in the Flemington area. Like, my wife has a shop in Flemington, you know, it's always busy there. And, you know, they always think like, oh, well, since it comes out of Flemington and everything's, all the important stuff goes on in Flemington, but I wanted to like shine some light on, like, hey, you know, I know we're farther, but this is still Hunterdon County, and we still want to represent our area. So, you know, and, you know, our customers definitely came through for us again for that, for voting. So it was great. You know, they did a great job.
You are very active on Facebook to put up your specials. You change your sandwiches
pretty much every day.
Every day.
Yeah, pretty much every day. I mean, occasionally I'll
the
go 2
chocolate chip
days.
cookies are always consistent. So
we bake those every single morning.
Those are
delicious. It's something I can't
those
get away
dangerous.
from doing. So yeah, it's hard to get away from doing. I don't know why I started doing that, but they sell really well. So, but every morning I bake them in the morning. So, so yeah, that's always somebody's favorite.
What's your favorite part of the day? What's your least favorite part of the day?
I love being here in the morning, opening. Like I have such a procedure, and it's so, like, I could probably do it blindfolded. Like, you know how you because we had local roast coffee, which from Homestead Coffee Roasters. I have a great partnership with them, and they've unbelievable people, and we've worked out what we want, and and did tastings, and they've been on board with me. They're in Upper Black Eddy, and they also have a general store. Okay. So, Mike,
so shout out to Homestead Roasters.
They're the best. Yeah, I mean, anybody around here knows them, and they travel out to Upper Black Eddy to get it. It's not far, like 35 minutes, but a lot of people will be like, oh, it's all the way over there. It's not that bad, and they have a great general store there too. They have inside seating and sort of more restaurant setting, but the roaster part of the business is next door, and they're remodeling and expanding their roasting there, and they've been doing a great job. But so every morning it's like I brew 5 different coffees every morning, so that's part of.
Are you a coffee drinker?
Complete coffee nerd.
Yeah. I probably drink more coffee than water.
Yeah, I enjoy being here. I really love being here. So, there was a time when I got out of being a chef. I don't really get out of it, but I kind of stepped away from it for about 12, 14 years and went into sales. But it was food and, wholesale meat and seafood sales. And I love the company. They're great, and I still use them here as a supplier. But it just became, it was just too, I was just, really aggravated every day. And, my wife's like, you need to go back into the food business again. Like, you need to get a restaurant again. Like, I'll never do that again. Like, it's just like day and night, and you're on the line, you're cooking and sauteing, and grilling. It's just a never ending, and you're every holiday. And, but when this became available, I've always loved this store for years, like since I was a teenager. And I just love the store.
How did you know that it was available for sale? Did you see it posted somewhere?
I knew Ed, the previous owner, and unfortunately he passed away a few years ago. And but and I used to frequent the store, but I didn't live out here at the time. But then I had just moved here. It was like 8-9 years ago. We bought our house, and then Ed passed, and I knew the owner of the building and everything, and reached out to him right away. And I'm like, it was Bobby Anastasia, and I was like, hey Bobby, I'll quit my job tomorrow and we'll keep the store open. And he's like, I don't know, I'm just too old, I just want to sell it all off. And I'm like, all right, well, I really don't unfortunately have the money to I just got my mortgage for my house. I'm like, I can't pull another one. Isn't it? If it had been, a different time, it would have been okay. But I said, I can't. Just let me rent the store, And he wanted to just sell it all. And then luckily Brian grabbed it, and he's definitely a pillar in the community. And like I said, they tried to make a go out of it. His wife was here working really hard. His future daughter-in-law, now daughter-in-law, and some other employees, but it was just, it was just too tough to keep it going. So, and then a good friend was a real estate agent. We bought our house from her, and she's friends with Brian and Karen Martino, and she's local. She lives right down the street too, and she's like, you have to reach out to Brian and talk to him about this, because I think it's time, you know, they want to move on from it. And we negotiated, and it didn't work out in the beginning. And then a few months went by, and then I noticed the shop closing more and more. Like went
Just
from
the
like
hours.
6 days to 5 days to 4 days, and not being open enough. You can't keep fresh product. It's, you know, from a chef standpoint, there's never been a chef that's owned the store, so to my knowledge. You know, our mentality is, even when it's delivered to you, peak of freshness, or you go grab it from somewhere, peak of freshness, you're in your mind, it's going bad right now. So you have, you know, it's important to use everything as quickly as possible. So that's, you know, just our focus here. You know, just try to get everything, you know, to use everything as quick as possible. Even if you, and that makes it a challenge for the store, because I don't have walk-in boxes. I don't have everything I would have normally in a restaurant. I have like condensed space. So I kind of have to buy small amounts. So it makes it tough with purveyors. So you're going to have to kind of go, and the farmers markets work great for that, especially in the summer, you know, because I'll buy tomatoes and I'll buy everything from there as local as I can, you know. So we love to do that if we can, you know. And it's like today I picked up all my plants and landscaping from Zadlock down the street, you know, and so yeah, we do a lot of stuff locally if we can.
I love that.
Well,
if
I don't wave, like, wave that, you didn't wave at me. I'm like,
do you ever get honks just driving by people?
All the time.
All the time.
Yeah. Mostly waves, but sometimes honks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we heard a little bit about the change of ownership. What about like things that still exist? Anything in there that we need to go take a look at because there's a story behind it?
I mean, not really. I mean, the shelving, a lot of the shelving is, I think, is sort of original. Obviously been painted or refinished, but a lot of the things are in there. We've tried to upgrade some things without taking away the charm of it. And, you know, equipment upgrades is what we're doing now. You know, I'm kind of redoing the kitchen right now, so with some things to make it more efficient for myself to do, because I'm the only one who makes the food here. Like, it's from open to close, so it's all from my hand. You know, my employees do a great job. You know, I only have really one or two at the moment. Like, I'll have some college girls coming back now to help out in the summer, but for the most part, you know, they get the tickets to me, I complete, and they ring people up. So that's really the way I like it, you know, and it still gives me time, even when I'm making things, to interact with people, because it's, you know, it's all the time, you know. So we're always chatting, you know, so it's the way it is.
Yeah. So you're still uncovering some of the history.
Yeah,
I mean, you have a really old photo of the outside.
Yeah.
Like the porch.
Yep.
Do you know if it's ever been redone? Or?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it looks a little different than it did back then. I mean, that was all prior to me, but you know, we try to maintain it as best we can. But you know, this road wasn't here, like Woodglen wasn't here. It was sort of dirt, you know, back when, you know, that picture was with horses and everything there in front of it. So, but this is still the original building of, you know, of the general store. So, yeah.
What about this cornerstone down at the bottom there? Is that?
I don't know a lot about it. You know, people, you know, I've heard like, oh, this is the highest point in Lebanon. I think it's BS. But, you know, but it is huge. I mean, I couldn't even guess how, you know, it's kind of paved up to it, and it's just there.
I mean, it was intentionally left there, right? Like,
I think it was just too big to move.
You think?
Like, you know,
and it just never.
I mean, my house is built in 1790, and it's all stone.
Yeah.
And there's stones like in the basement. Even here, like, you look at me like, how did they even move this? You know, like, it's so big. Like, even with horses and, you know, and what they had back, block and tackle, and how did they? I think they just dig and then like, okay, that's there. It's too big to move. We'll build around it. I think that's kind of probably will happen, but
Yeah.
because it's huge, I don't know that, you know, it could be moved.
So a lot of what I want to do with this business
Mhm.
is build a community around people who love places like this,
Right.
and also build a community around the store owners.
Right.
There's a lot probably that you could learn from someone else, maybe someone who runs a business just like this in New Jersey, outside New Jersey, get lessons learned, share experiences, share stories. So it's a lot of a community building aspect to it. So you had mentioned the community here really supports you. Is there anything that you kind of have a vision for like your role in the community?
The township, like they do picnics and all that stuff for township employees. I've always catered that, and a lot of times I do things comped. Whenever the school calls, it's yes. The first answer is yes, and then I don't even know what they want, but the answer is yes. We always, it's for someone who has something like this in the community. You have a duty to do that. But I've been at other places before. Worked at other places before, and owners are just like, they come to me all the time for donations and this and that. Like, you have to do it. It's your duty. I mean, you really have to participate in that kind of thing. And when you do, it comes back to you. People, the parents know, they come to you, and then they frequent your place, and it makes sense.
Yeah.
And why wouldn't you? I mean,
Yeah.
it's funding's not always available for everything. So if they look to it in other ways, then we're happy to help. So
That's wonderful.
yeah. I take it all down and I clean everything, and because we're super proud of how clean the store is. So it's a lot to keep dusted and and kind of preserved, but yeah, we do what we can with it, but kind of everything like surgically clean all the time. So I'm like, I don't mind from like here up, I don't mind it being having antiques and things from the past, but from here down, I'd like it to be things available to buy, like retail. So well, this cabinet's just an old cabinet that was here. I'm going to utilize it as part of the counter when I move it, but the new gelato case will be here, and then that'll add a whole new aspect to the store.
What's your target date for that?
June 1st for sure. That's the target. I think I'm picking up the case next week, and then I'll be getting my first delivery. And from that point, we'll have that all day, obviously, at the same time the store's open, but we'll be also having night hours. We're doing sets of like wooden bowls, wooden plates, salad spoons, like all kinds of things like that, all handmade out of wood. So we're going to be selling those.
Do you know anything about this?
Somebody made it for Bobby when he had the store, and somebody gave it to him. They made it for him, and I've never, I've moved it around, but I've just cleaned it and kept it up. I like it. And somebody made that one too. It was hand carved, so they're pretty neat. Prepping all day, but this is sort of like the main. This is where I'm at 90% of the day, if not in the back, but definitely during the lunch.
Let's see your view. Oh, the doors jingle.
Yeah, the bell's always on the door, and the screen door as well. Like when it's cool enough, I'll open the door. So yeah, it's where all the somewhat magic happens, I guess. This is an old bread cabinet that I kept, and I still use it today. I love it. It's usually full when I'm open. And then all of our breads from Anthony and Sons, they do a tremendous job for me. Very happy with them. So back here, we're just remodeling back here. Not remodeling, but kind of cleaning things up. I'm in the midst of covering everything in stainless steel, so try to make it more restaurant-like, you know. So.
You know, people never come back here, but
No.
there's no
Well, they
door
do.
on this space, so everyone.
No,
as
they do.
They do. Customers?
Well, I have old timers. Like in the beginning, they didn't come here when I first took over, but then once they got to know me, I literally have, you know, probably 10 or 12 guys that are like old, like they remember the store when it was. When they were kids that still live here. And a lot of times they'll see me like during breakfast and they'll come back here and stand here and watch me. So
you know
and I don't mind it. You know, it's like, you know, I'm not, you know.
You know how the older generation is that they, you know, they get a sense of, I remember when I was a little kid, I used to sit back on this stuff. You're going to tell me I can't sit here anymore?
Right. Right. So yeah, exactly. So I'm like, you know, I don't care. But I love all of. That's like what really makes my day is when those guys are here, like in the morning. Like it makes you feel like I made the right decision to throw away corporate everything. Like it was very. It's scary. I'm not gonna lie. Like right now, it just pays for itself. It doesn't make me anything. But you kind of have to be okay with that. And then hope that the new changes that you introduce will maybe put you over the top. So we're hoping with, you know, gelato ice cream, that increasing those hours at night, it'll make the difference. And that's the direction we're kind of going. I mean, this back here used to be, this was a staircase that's kind of going to nowhere, and now it's just a pantry closet. Oh. That did go up to upstairs. So you used to be able to just come downstairs and go to work from then.
Can we see inside this closet?
Yeah, it's just my dry storage, pretty much. Like put canned goods and stuff like that in there. And then this part was part of the original. There used to be an elevator, a grain elevator, that went into the basement, and it would go up to the second story. So that was part of the whole thing was part of the general store. At one time, it wasn't like, you know, someone living upstairs. You know, it was more so they could bring in deliveries from this side because this was redone, but still a big door, and you could go into the basement or upstairs with it.
And now upstairs is an apartment?
Yeah. Yeah, there's tenant in there currently. Why does it make a jump down to there when this is clearly the original floor, and that's the original floor? But, you know, maybe there was a wall here at some point. I don't know. There's not a spot that doesn't creak in here. And I wouldn't, like, my chef friends, when they first started coming here, like, they were like, I got this general store, and they're like looking around like, when are you ripping all this stuff out? Because they know, like, back in the day when it was a restaurant, like, this all got to get gutted. We needed everything covered in stainless steel. We need this. And now it's like, they heard me. They're like, don't touch it. They heard me, like, you know, like, I'm not touching anything. And they're like, what? And I'm like, because they knew me from the past, like, we need to gut it all. It's got to get all brand new. But I wouldn't change anything about it. Like, you make some improvements, obviously, things that break, and they do, and that's constantly. But just like upgrading little things, but leaving it all with the store charm is my, you know, it's what we want to do. We don't want
to.
Yeah.
There's only few things that general stores have as an opportunity to differentiate themselves.
Yeah.
From going to ShopRite or any other big...
Well, we're not a convenience store.
Right.
I mean, I didn't go back to like cigarette sales and all that. I'm not interested in it. I don't want it. It's no good for you anyway. But I mean, but it's like, but for quirky things, like small batch things, like, and sort of like regular everyday things, like the good part of it is about a lot of this, like, you know, I can cross utilize for me. Like if I needed, like, you know, if I ran out of hot sauce I was using, I could just come grab a couple bottles of Cholula or something, you know, and I have it. And I have a company who does private labeling for me in Texas. So he uses some of my recipe and some of theirs, and they've done a tremendous job for me. And really, outside of food, I really don't have a lot of other things. Like, you know, they used to sell like fishing poles and all that, and that's cool. Don't get me wrong, I love it, but I'm more, you know, for me, it comes from food, so I'm kind of gonna stick with that, you know. But yeah, Boar's Head, you know, they've been a great partner with me. When I took over and I said, you know, we wanted to bring the store back to Boar's Head, and because I've used them in the past, in my past in other places, I already had a relationship with them, and they were great. And they said, you know, what can we do for you? And you know, like all my menu boards I designed, and made, you know, placards on them. And I said I just wanted old-looking general store frames, and they nailed it for me. They did a great job.
Wow, this is like history in the making. This is the first time the Woodglen General Store has ever been owned and operated by a former chef with high restaurant quality expectations. If you want to say thanks to Rob for this video, visit them in California, New Jersey, or consider buying our partner puzzle. 100% of the proceeds will go directly towards the preservation of their store. And if you don't have a place near you, like a general store where you buy your coffee, consider buying it from us, the good old-fashioned general store. Thanks, and hope to see you again real soon.